Hey House Kiss, welcome to today's Big Brother 20 updates and spoilers. Our House Kiss today is Jason James. Jason, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it, and we think you're awesome. And if you guys want to be House Kiss today like Jason, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. So, yesterday they had the power veto ceremony. Casey did not use the POV, and that means that Haley and Sam remain on the block. One of them will be the first to go on Thursday. The other could be the second. We'll see. As of right now, Haley is going. So after the ceremony was over, Tyler was reassuring Sam, you're good, don't even worry about campaigning because you've got all the votes, it should be unanimous. Just relax. And she's like, okay. So then Tyler and Brett, I mentioned yesterday that they were going to have like this game chat and talk about where JC stands right now, and then they never ended up having it that night. Well, they did have it yesterday. They had a couple of game chats yesterday. So they were in the backyard, and they established again, like, yes, we are getting rid of Haley this week. It's definitely happening. They're not even sure if she's going to try to campaign. They're not even sure if she realizes that she's the target. And guess what? She's not totally sure. Oh, she's got to know, right? She's got to know. So Tyler doesn't want her to know if she's the target or not because there's always that chance that she could blow up in her eviction speech and say what? What are you so scared is going to come out? Haley is like one of the few people left that you don't have a final two deal with. I feel like I would be a little bit sketched out by Tyler if he was like, I don't want her making some speech blowing up games. I mean, she could just make stuff up, but still, there's not that many people left, so whatever. But Brett doesn't think that she's going to do that. I don't think she is either. I'm sure she'll compliment Julie and say whatever after that. So Tyler says that he thinks that the two of them are in a good spot right now because Angela and Casey definitely want to go to the Final Four with them. They want to get level 6 to the end. And he feels like JC also wants to go to the Final Four with them. And one of the girls can't be both. And Brett's like, yeah, that's what it seems like. So Tyler says he's not sure what Sam would do, you know, if she had an HOH. And Brett's like, well, I've heard Sam mention in the past Angela as the target, like a long time ago. And now Casey put her up on the block as a pawn, so it would make sense if she put up Angela and Casey together. Maybe she would do that. You know what? I could totally see it. Because you know, Sam would probably love to be alone with the guys in the house. Are you kidding me? Alright, so this conversation was broken up by Angela, but Brett and Tyler did chat again alone a few hours later. So Brett finally admits that yes, JC definitely wants Angela or Casey out next week. And honestly, he wants Angela out first. So then Brett says, JC's not wrong though. I mean, Angela and Casey are not doing a very good job of hiding how close they are. Everybody thinks that they have a final two. The funny thing is, I don't think they actually have a final two deal. I don't think Angela has a solid final two deal with anybody except for Rachel, and we saw what happened to her. So Tyler reemphasizes with Brett that the girls want them to go to the Final Four with them. They want to stick together. He's really pushing that. And Brett's like, yeah, I know, but like I got really nervous during the power veto ceremony because apparently Casey was like nervous again, had the giggles, and then Haley was laughing, so he was like, oh my god, what if they struck a deal and Casey was going to pull some crazy move, use the veto on Haley, and then put up Brett. Tyler's like, nah, that would never happen. So then Brett is saying, yeah, the girls are smart enough to know that they're not going to win sitting in the final two against JC or Sam because, as we've heard from Scotty, who came back from the jury house, that jury's going to be real bitter. Unless the jury roundtable changes people's minds, I don't know, but that jury's looking real bitter. So they are then planning ahead. They're like, okay, say we do end up in the Final Four with all of the remaining level 6, you know, all 4 of them. If one of the girls wins that Final Four HOH and puts up the 2 guys, which I don't think would actually happen, but Tyler doesn't want to let Brett know, like, I've got a final 2 with Casey, and that's my real one. He's saying, you know, we have a good shot to win the veto. And then the veto holder cast the sole vote to evict that week, so it's not the end of the world if they're both up on the block. But don't forget, Casey's pretty good at vetoes. But then again, I don't know how good she is at days and events. I know Brett studies nonstop, so he's going to be really good at that, and that competition usually has something to do with it. So anyway, later, JC and Brett were chatting, and they're still not sure if Tyler and Angela are actually in a showmance or what. Brett's like, I don't know, they sleep in separate beds, but the beds are next to each other, and they're facing each other, and their faces are right there. Like, who does that? So JC's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're in a showmance or not. We need to break up that trio of Tyler, Angela, and Casey, or we're effed. They're gonna freaking take us out. So they don't feel like Tyler would necessarily make a move against them in the double eviction. I don't know about that. But they are worried about Angela and Casey coming after them. So they really want to get rid of one of the girls. Or at least that's what Brett's saying to JC. I never know where Brett actually stands. So then JC is saying he really slept on that trio because he focused so much on being around the other side to take them down that he didn't see that trio getting stronger, and now he's like, oh shit. So JC is thinking they started working together because Haley put them all up, and it was like this bonding thing, and it's all Haley's fault. But they've been together since like day 3 or something. But Brett's like, oh, they're probably working together before that. So then they discussed the veto competition that Angela won when she convinced Scotty and Tyler not to take the veto so that she could have it, and then she used it on Tyler. So they're like, clearly there was already something going on there. And then Brett was saying, you know what? It's not necessarily a solid trio. It's a 4. No, he didn't say that. But he's saying Casey and Angela, super close. Angela and Tyler, super close. Casey and Tyler, they're not together. Oh my god, isn't that so ironic? Because that is Casey and Tyler's true, like, final 2 deal. Wild. But JC agrees. Yeah, he doesn't think that Tyler and Casey are all that close. So Angela is really the link within that group. Okay, so meanwhile, Tyler, Angela, and Casey are up in the HOH room. And Tyler's like, guys, I think JC is going to try to pull something during this double eviction. He's trying to make Brett his new Fessy, but Brett is a lot smarter than that, so it's probably not going to work. They don't think that Brett would fall for any of that. But Tyler says, you know what, JC is probably also working on Sam too because he's smart. He's really playing this game. So it still seems like they're not really that worried. But later, Tyler and Casey were chatting alone. And again, Casey is saying there's not really anything that JC can do unless he wins an HOH. You know? How's he going to make this move unless he wins something? And Tyler's like, yeah, but he could convince Brett or Sam to do his bidding. Casey she can't even fathom the idea of anyone from level 6 going against the group. So Tyler says he talked to Brett earlier, really emphasized that level 6 needs to go to the final 4 together, and that Angela and Casey want that. So Casey's like, oh yeah, that's great, that's great. So Tyler also shares that JC is now saying he would put up Angela and Sam, not Angela and Casey like he was previously saying. So if that's true, they're thinking at least it wouldn't be the 2 of them going up. We can kind of like wiggle our way out of that. So Casey, again, she's not worried. They're going to get rid of Haley, Sam, and JC in that order, and then it's going to be all level 6 at the end. We'll see. You never know. All right. So then Brett and Haley talked a lot last night. He's been talking to her late a few times this week. Honestly, it reminds me of the conversations that he was having with Scotty last week. Remember, we were like, oh my god, is Brett going to flip? I don't think he's going to flip and keep Haley this week, though. I think it's a little bit more clear now that we've seen what happened last week. It feels like he's just trying to get the information from Haley that he can. He's trying to see what the perception is of different people, get an idea of how maybe the jury's going to vote, and I think he's setting himself up to get Haley's jury vote. I honestly don't think that he wants to keep Haley this week, though. So he's like, all right, what's your plan for this week? She's hoping that Sam will freak out and they'll just want to get rid of her. That's your plan? But she's like, oh crap, Sam has been handling being on the block really well. I wonder why that is. Maybe everyone's constantly reassuring her that she's safe this week, and they're not doing that for you. Think about it. So she says she's not going to start campaigning yet. It's too early. Helen. She doesn't want to mess things up just in case Tyler and Angela have already decided that they want Sam out. She doesn't want to be that person that freaks out and changes everybody's mind and then all of a sudden they're gone. Oh, Haley. So then Brett's like, well, do you think, what's up with Tyler, Angela, and Casey? Do you think they're a trio or what? And Haley's like, are you serious? Aren't you working with them? And Brett denies it. So she brings up walking in on Brett celebrating with the other three. And he's like, I celebrate with everybody. No. He says, I voted with them a few times, but I'm not working with them. And Haley's like, okay. So, yeah. Then there was lots of speculation about Tangela, if they're a showmance or what. Haley thinks, you know, maybe I could use this to my advantage. Maybe Casey doesn't realize how close Tyler and Angela are. Maybe she could convince two people to keep her, force a tie, and then if she can really push the showmance angle to Casey, maybe she'll want to keep Haley around to help split them up. Yeah, that's not going to work. Casey is probably the most loyal person to level 6. There's no way that she's going to break that tie to keep Haley. I don't see it happening. But today, not much going on so far. JC wrote 9/11 we remember, and then he made a heart with USA in it on the yellow pin wall, so that was nice. Other than that, I mean, they're just hanging out, enjoying the sun. How nice for them. So we have 2 days left until the eviction, the double eviction. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. Who do you want to see go home? And until tomorrow, much love.